New at 10 tonight, the N4 Tucson investigators are learning more about several correctional facilities that have been experiencing AC problems during this sweltering heat.
So we first exposed these issues at the federal prison in Tucson earlier this summer. The AC system there was fixed after we started asking questions. And now our chief investigative reporter, Chris Nylander, gets answers about other prison facilities in the state in tonight's N4 Tucson investigation.
Well, after our investigation here recently at the federal prison in Tucson, we started to hear from inmates and their families about AC problems at various correctional facilities across the state. Now the Department of Corrections is addressing the problem. It's a historic summer for the Arizona sun. For many inmates across the state, they have experienced it without air conditioning.
It's a dangerous heat, and we wouldn't even want our pets in that heat, so why human beings?
Valerie Lloyd lives in Tucson. Her husband is doing time at the La Palma Correctional Facility here in Eloy. She says he's a non-violent offender almost done with his sentence. She says the AC there was out for at least 6 days straight during some of our hottest days on record.
A lot of people would say that people in prison, they don't deserve air. It's not really a topic that people think about, but when it hits home and when it's your loved one and they're calling and telling you it's over 100 degrees and they're locked in a cell, there's a difference between humane and comfort.
We first heard concerns from relatives of inmates at the federal prison in Tucson earlier this month. The AC there was broken for several weeks.
I know he's in there for a reason, but that is no reason to be treated the way they've been treated.
These are human beings and they need to be treated as such.
The Bureau of Prisons told the N4 Tucson investigators all the issues have been fixed, but we are learning issues have been much more widespread within the state prison system.
In the last week, we've heard from 5 or 6 different locations around the state, including from the private prison in Kingman, in Tucson, at the state-operated prison in Florence, and at Perryville.
Donna Ham is the executive director of the inmate advocacy group Middle Ground. She believes the Department of Corrections has been ignoring preventative maintenance.
They don't do the kind of preventive maintenance or preparation for the kind of load that's going to be put onto their equipment.
After facing questions, the Department of Corrections announced it's having its staff closely monitor inmates for signs of heat exhaustion, and when internal temperatures are high, it's using fans and other means to cool things off. The department didn't respond to our request for an interview.
Our complexes are no different than the rest of the community that's experiencing what's an unprecedented heat wave.
NBC affiliate KPNX in Phoenix sat down with Ryan Thornell, the director of the Department of Corrections, who showed little concern for the AC issues and doesn't see it as an unacceptable problem.
It's understandable that parts fail and maintenance people have to come out and repair things, just like it happens at houses, just like happens in communities.
Valerie feels that's not good enough and worries about her husband's health.
I'm a former nurse, and I can tell you that it's not good to be in prolonged heat when you have health problems.
And in light of all of this, the Department of Corrections also says it's relaxed its grooming and dress standards during this excessive heat. And when things inside get too hot, they have cooling centers to try and cool off the inmates. Investigating for you, Chris Nylander, N4 Tucson.